friends, and welcome to the Out of OCD podcast, your source for understanding and managing obsessive-compulsive disorder. This podcast explores the realities of OCD, personal stories, treatment approaches, and tips for breaking free from those often debilitating intrusive thoughts and compulsive behaviors. I'm your host, Dr. Toy Hirschman, not a therapist, but someone who has also lived with severe OCD and co-occurring disorders. Please join me for real stories, pro tips, and a sometimes humorous look at busting through OCD. Let's get started kicking OCD out of our lives for good. Hi friends, Toy Hirschman here, and welcome back to another Out of OCD podcast / YouTube video. I'm very excited to have you here. If you don't know me, I had OCD. I was diagnosed at 12. I am no longer 12. And it was 30 years plus before I got the help that I actually needed to get better. And so I'm here sharing, as you do when you struggled that long. You don't want anyone else to struggle like that. So I wanted to talk to you today about something really cool. I am just a big Mel Robbins fan. I read her stuff. I listen to her podcast. We're not affiliated in any way. I wouldn't mind, but I was reading her latest book. It's called The Let Them Theory. It is not about OCD, but the whole time I'm reading this book, I am thinking about how this pertains to OCD. So the Let Them Theory goes like this. Very brilliant theory, but it's really about relationships with other people and about how you really can't control what other people do and how they perceive you most of the time. So you just have to literally let them think what they're going to think, let them do what they're going to do. The only thing that you can control is your reaction to it. And as soon as I read like the first page of this book and I went, oh, that's ERP, right? That's mindfulness meditation. That's ERP, right? It's just ERP. Only instead of other people that are actually other people, the other people are your OCD. And so an exercise that really worked well for me in therapy, and actually, my therapist said she uses this with children, but I'm like, that's great. That's exactly where my maturity level is. So the exercise is, taking your OCD and kind of personalizing it. So mine happened to be this really cranky bitch named Gloria. And I explain more about Gloria in other places. That's just what happened. I don't know. We did an exercise. That's what I imagined. It's Gloria. And other people have a crazy monkey. Other people have a gremlin. I've heard all kinds of different ways people kind of put a personality onto their OCD, which is great because it helps you kind of pull that part out and start to realize that that thing is not you. That's just garbage thoughts. That's like someone driving by, screaming obscenities out the window, whatever. So the let them theory, it kind of, if you think about it, you just have to, those thoughts are the other person and you just have to let them. Let those thoughts. And I think it's just really, really cool to think about it like that. It's ERP. It's literally, that's what ERP is. But ERP can be explained to people very clinically. For me, it didn't. I thought I knew what it was going into therapy. ERP is exposure and response prevention, if you don't know that. But when I was going into therapy, I thought I knew what that was. Exposure. And then and to me, it was this, my therapist was like, you need to practice ERP. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. The thoughts are coming at me every single second. At that point in time, every second of every day, these creepy, tastic thoughts are coming into my head and I'm just fighting them off. I'm just they're attacking me, right? That's what it feels like. It feels like they're attacking me. These thoughts are attacking me. They're making me do weird things like walk through doors 100,000 times and, dump milks out and fill milks back, all of the repetitive things that I did. Other people have different types of and themes of OCD, but that just happened to be mine. And guys, I know there's some sun that just started coming in and I'm looking a little bit creepy. That might just be the way I look though. But this theory kind of really helped me organize my thoughts around how to explain ERP in a way that really just was easy, right? You're having these thoughts, they're coming up. Okay, sucks. They suck. They make you want to do compulsions, whether mental or physical, and then you just let them. Literally, it's ERP and mindfulness meditation all rolled into one. And like me, If you have OCD, the first time somebody mentions meditate, you're like, you just say meditate. Looks like I have a meeting coming up. But yeah, so meditation is not what y'all think it is. And especially when it comes to OCD, I explained that in a whole other podcast episode. So I will link to that in the show notes as well. I'll also link to I did a little blog about this. So I'll link to that at the end. But yeah, so it's just really ERP is letting that gremlin, that your Gloria, just be there. There she is. She's screaming at me again. And I'm just going to sit. Sometimes you can sit. Other times you can watch. You can do whatever you want when you're doing this. And you're still doing it. But just give yourself a minute. Like literally 60 seconds. That's it. If you're really, really, really trapped in OCD cycle like I was, a minute is hard. I'm not saying, this principle is simple, but the application of it is hard. And that's why it's a practice. It's not like a one and done deal. You keep doing it and it gets easier every time. For me, even 30 seconds when I first started doing ERP, and essentially what this idea is, let those thoughts just be there. Don't do anything with them. They're just there. There they are. Look at them. Oh boy. That's really hard. Simple idea, super hard. It's like going to the gym every day is a simple idea, but it's not so easy. And you practice, just like you practice an instrument or you practice yoga, or you just keep doing it, and little by little you get better every day. And then one day you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I just did 5 minutes. I just washed the dishes for a whole 5 minutes, doing the thing I needed to do, and just let those thoughts come and go. And yeah, I did the compulsion afterwards, but that was 5 minutes. And then a little while later, oh my gosh, it's been half an hour and I didn't do anything. And that's it. But I thought that book, The Let Them Theory, was just such a cool little mental health kind of adjacent thing, because you're really doing what ERP is asking you to do. And it really kind of simplified the idea for me, because I really didn't understand ERP at first. But when you're doing this, when you're allowing those thoughts to come in, they're going to trigger you. Hopefully you don't do the compulsion, but you might. But give it a minute. Give it a minute. Give it 30 seconds. Whatever it takes to just give it. And then if you go back and do it, okay. What that does is now you're training your brain. You're training your brain to get better and better till eventually you're like, oh, I didn't even compulse today. Now, that could be a long road for you. It was for me. But you can get there. You really can. And another thing to know is that when you have OCD, unless you know a way to extract that part of your brain, you're always going to have OCD. You can fully recover. I'm not saying that you can't recover, but you're always going to have that tendency for that little creepy Gloria, your little Gloria, whatever your Gloria is, to sneak in. But the good news is that when you practice this enough, I get it. If I get really, really stressed about work or about something at home, OCD just likes to go, hey, I'm still here. So by practicing and doing ERP and using these ideas about letting those thoughts be there, eventually I got to where I'm pretty good, right? But, OCD. And so my Gloria is skulked off and she's all quiet in the back of my brain somewhere. Every now and then she's like, hey, jerk. She's a bitch. She does that. But that's what OCD does. And so I'll get super stressed at work, or something weird will happen at home. Something will be stressful. And then Gloria is just she just comes I'm here, babe. I'm back. But she's not, because she might get me to blip. She might get me to do a little thing. But I know how to handle her now because I've done it for so long. I know I'd be like, okay, that's enough. You got me once. Fool me once, Gloria. But it's not happening again, because I know how to do that. I know how to let those thoughts be there and just deal. It's really interesting to me the more I learn about OCD, because it's just so, it's so wild how many thoughts that I could never tell anyone the thoughts that I had, because I thought people would think I was crazy. And I think everyone with OCD feels that way, and that's why we sometimes hide out and don't share. But other people have similar thoughts that you do. And when someone told me that, I was like, what? No, nobody has my thoughts. My thoughts, no, nobody. But yeah, they do. And people who don't have OCD have these thoughts and they just let them. They're like, ooh, weird thought. Like, you're riding an escalator and you think I could just boop that guy right off of the thing. I mean, that wasn't one of my OCD themes, but I know it is for other people. But other people have that thought. I have OCD and I've had that thought, but it didn't bother me or scare me or trigger my OCD because that wasn't my theme. Other people have those thoughts. And I tell you, if I told you my thoughts, you would be like, oh my gosh, you have the coolest OCD. That would be easy for me, because everyone with OCD wants to have somebody else's OCD. Like, the thoughts that are scary for you are not scary for me, and vice versa. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit. It's really helpful. It's a helpful way to kind of reframe the way that you think about OCD. And again, little by little, you get better. So if you like what I'm sharing, please do the things. You know what to do. I'll put some cool links in the show notes. There's a whole bunch of cool ones that I think are really helpful. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.